Carlos Sainz snatched pole positions at the dying seconds of the session to clinch his career first pole position. It was a rainy qualifying session that saw the leaders change constantly. It was up to the drivers to find a dry line on a very wet racetrack, and they just had to have faith in their abilities. Max Verstappen will start in P2, Charles Leclerc in P3 and Sergio Perez in P4. It was a truly wild qualifying session that even saw Nicholas Latifi get into Q3. So hello and welcome to Fervent Motorsports, your pit stop for all things motorsport, and today we are going to take you through the qualifying of the Silverstone Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz grabbed his first ever pole position. This comes after a rough season for him where he suffered from a series of DNFs early in the season that even pushed him to P5 in the driver standing behind George Russell. However, he's regained his form. He almost won his last race, the Canadian Grand Prix, fighting Max Verstappen until the line but almost making it. Since then, he said he felt confident in the car and he knows the limits of the car. And he showed us just that. He put in a brilliant lap at the end to take home pole position. And the static Carlos said it was a good lap. I was struggling a lot with the standing water. Pole came as a bit of a surprise, but the pace has been there all weekend. Speaking about pace, Max was constantly setting the pace throughout the session. He even put on a show for the crowd with this brilliant bit of car control that shows us all why he drives with the number 1 on his car. However, in the last lap, he had a bad middle sector and he couldn't make up the gap. But he's starting in P2 and Max is in a brilliant place to fight for tomorrow. His teammate Perez has never enjoyed Silverstone that much, but his team sorted out issues with his car that he felt on Friday, and he managed a great lap at the end of the session to sneak into the top 4. The Mercedes duo of Hamilton and Russell will start in P5 and P8. The team came with a bunch of upgrades to their home race, but they failed to find the pace in the wet. However, in the dry, they have looked a bit more competitive. Lando Norris showed great pace in the McLaren and he even recovered from a serious face injury to slot his car in P6. His teammate Ricciardo starts down in P14. Fernando Alonso once again showed us what an absolute boss he is in the rain. He managed to pilot his Alpine car into P7 ahead of the Mercedes of Russell. His teammate Ocon starts in P15. Zhou Guanyu continued his impressive run in form. The Chinese driver managed his second points finish in the last race, and he picked up where he left off. He put in a brilliant lap today to start in P9, while Bottas will start in P12 tomorrow. Nicholas Latifi managed his first ever Q3 appearance. He couldn't set a faster time, so he starts in 10th. But still, it's a massive boost for the driver whose future hangs in the balance. His teammate Albon was knocked out in Q1. He starts in 16th. Interestingly, the Williams team did have upgrades for this race, but it was only Alex Albon's car that received the upgrades while Latifi did not have any of those. Yet, Latifi managed to outqualify Albon. The AlphaTauri boys of Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda start in P11 and P13. While right at the bottom, we have the Haas duo of K-Mag who will start in 17th and Mick Schumacher who will start in 19th. Joining them at the bottom, we have Aston Martin, with Vettel in 18th and Stroll dead last. So that is how your starting grid looks like for tomorrow's race. The race is predicted to be a dry one, but hey, you never know what Formula 1 has up its sleeve. We saw Lewis crash out Max in the last race, and the year before that we saw last lap drama between Hamilton when he had a puncture. So the question is, what is Lewis up to this year? Whatever it is, make sure you let us know in the comments below.